Welcome, everybody, to La Vida Baseball Live. Here's a look at what is trending. I still have some gasoline left in the tank, says Albert Pujols as he made his debut in Dodger blue on Monday night, making that his 2,887th Major League game. The Dodgers signed the future Hall of Famer to a one-year deal after the Angels DFA'd him. Nike's latest City Connect jerseys are out, and this time it speaks to the legacy, the culture, the passion, and the pride for baseball in South Florida. The new Miami Marlins jerseys pay homage to the Cuban Sugar Kings, a Cuban minor league team that played from 1946 to 1960. Detroit starter Spencer Turnbull has thrown the first Tigers no-hitter since Justin Verlander back in 2011. This marks the fifth no-hitter of the season. The record in the modern era is 7 in a season. We're just halfway through May. Keep that in mind. Coming in 2022 to ESPN, The Captain, a 6-part documentary series from the producers of The Last Dance, all about Derek Jeter. Following a 20-year career in pinstripes, Jeter was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame back in 2020 and will be enshrined this summer. Bad Bunny is not just owning the charts, he's also owning teams. Yep, you heard that right. The Puerto Rican music superstar is now a co-owner of a basketball team on his native island. The megastar said in a statement, the goal is, quote, to promote a better future through sports, music, and the arts for the young people in Puerto Rico. And that is a look at what is trending. And now it is my pleasure to welcome to the show Jennifer Mercedes in New Jersey and Ozzie Guillen Jr. coming in with us from Chicago. How are you guys? Welcome.
Good. Doing good. It's really warm here on the East Coast, so it's good.
I'm jealous. We have cloudy skies here in San Diego, but it is so good to see you guys. Something we didn't mention in the trending topics, but something that is trending right now was what went down last night. Ozzie, I know you have some strong thoughts. Jen, you're going to talk about this later in the show. But what is going on in the south side of Chicago right now? And specifically, what is happening in that clubhouse?
Well, you know what? When things basically grow in 3 days, this was going to be about a guy hitting a home run off of William Artudillo, La Tortuga. And something that I thought was really funny because I literally did not think about the unwritten rules because I never thought that there was unwritten rules when there was a position player on the field. And then as the things transpire from the broadcast booth to William's face, it's become this whirlwind of we have managers, Tony La Russa, saying that it's okay for the other team to basically throw at a player, throwing his player under the bus. We have players tweeting and posting on social media. So something that was going to be really funny for this segment that I thought was great was seeing Yermín Mercedes going deep on Artudillo, because I believe that it's embarrassing if you're a position player, okay, to be for a position player to get you out. So if I'm hitting, I'm trying to go deep off of you, and the ball was like 42 miles per hour, and it was this like softball-like swing, and it was amazing. It was just awesome, and within like 20 seconds, all that was completely changed. So the story went from like, is it okay for a guy to swing 3-0 on a pitch? Absolutely. If it's a position player out there, go get him. Again, I think that when there's a pitcher out there, there's a point of respect to one another. But again, if you have beef with some other team and you want to show them up, do it. It's baseball, and he gets paid to hit bombs. So that story transpired all the way to what's happening today, which is drama central here in Chicago.
It is drama central, and a bunch of players came out and they were tweeting their reactions. You had everyone from Trevor Bauer to Tim Anderson having some very strongly worded tweets and comments about this. Jen, what stuck out to you about this specific situation, all things considered?
Well, everything that happened afterwards is what has stuck out to me, and specifically Tony La Russa's comments, just like Ozzie said, throwing your player under the bus, because we're talking about unwritten rules, and I think that is one of the biggest unwritten rules, right, in any sport. You got to have your players back, and he didn't care. He didn't care.
No, Tony La Russa, basically the boomer of baseball. But we're going to get more to that at the end of the show. Jen, you are going to take us home with your dissection of that entire event that went down on the south side of Chicago. But I want to know, Jen, what was the best thing that you saw last night?
Tommy Hunter getting his first major league hit for the Mets. I thought it was amazing. His reaction to it. I mean, he literally said he was like a little league child at first base. He was so happy, and he was just genuinely excited about what had happened. His family was sending him videos about it. It's just nice, wholesome fun that you like to see in baseball, and the fact that he was enjoying it that much was just great. It was really just nice to see.
That's awesome. My personal favorite from last night, it was Showtime once again in Anna Slime. Yes, I'm going to call it Anna Slime. It's okay. And it's Orange County, not Los Angeles. But Shohei Ohtani hits his MLB high 14th home run of the season. He's doing right now what no other player in Major League Baseball is doing. And Ozzie, I know you have strongly worded opinions on two-way players.
He's proving me wrong.
I know
Shohei Ohtani is proving Ozzie Jr. wrong. You know what? What he is doing, yeah. I don't know if his stamina is going to hold up. Okay. Mm-hmm. This is a guy dominating, because you can play both ways. We're seeing it. Position players can pitch and they hit bombs off of him. At the level that he is playing, he's leading the American League in home runs. Okay. Comes out, he's hitting these just crazy, smacking the ball, 450 feet. And then he comes in every 5 days and he's a very dominant pitcher. So I thought that he was not going to be able to do it. I thought that, that fatigue and stamina, but man, he has been proving everybody wrong. He is on fire. And I'm going to find it very interesting. I know that they won't let him pitch in the All-Star game, but I would love to see him at least hit probably. But it'd be really cool if he started the game and then he got to hit in the same game for the American League, because it's never been done before.
What do you think about this, Ozzie? Is he making a case for AL MVP?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's going to be very hard because he plays on a really bad team and it's only going to get worse. But if he keeps this up, he'll definitely be in the conversation, just because we've never seen it happen at this level where he is at. So he's a guy, he's growing on me. I was not a fan of him doing it, but man, if you can do it that well, do you, boo, because he's really good right now.
Do you, boo. I like that. Those are words to live by. Lumani Rosario says regarding Tony La Russa, get off my lawn. He is the old man screaming at the clouds. Get off my lawn. And that is exactly what everybody has been saying, most people at least.
It's true. It's true. He is the boomer of baseball. But really quick on Shohei Ohtani, I just want to say he has a team high 33 RBIs. He has an ERA under 2.5. He takes the mound tonight. So hits the league leading 14th home run, MLB leading 14th home run last night, takes the mound tonight. I'm excited for baseball in Anna Slime. All right, I spy with my weekly eye. What was the best thing that you guys saw this past week? Let's wrap it up. Jen, what was the best thing you saw?
Well, there's so many good things, right, in baseball, but talk about the NBA, right? LeBron James showing us his salsa moves in a commercial that he just filmed with an energy drink, I believe it is. And I just thought it was great. His moves were pretty good. They weren't bad. And he's got a great salsa outfit on. And that's one of the best salsa songs out there. If you love salsa, Devorame Otra Vez is a really great song. I just loved it. LeBron showing us his moves.
Okay, but let's go full on Dancing with the Stars. What number would you give him if you were to Carrie Ananaba this and hang it up?
If for a starter, for somebody who's a non-dancer, I would give him a 7.
7. Ozzie, what would you give him?
You know what? If she's going with a non-starter, the moves are not bad. I'm going just in general. Man, that's very. I'll give him a 1. And he's actually a pretty good dancer. He's not a very good salsa dancer.
So no, from 1 to 10, 10 being the best.
Yeah,
1 being the worst. He's horrible moves. I don't think he was good at all. I'm surprised Laker fans are not mad. When did he film that? When did he film that show? He's obviously hurt right now. He's moving pretty good. I think he's moving pretty good. LBJ's milking it for the playoffs. But it was good. It was a good commercial. You know what? It's a great commercial because that means one thing. Latino people, we're so cool right now. They're using our music with probably the top athlete right now in North America in a commercial. That's what I think. That's the way I see it. I think it's really cool for the cultures to blend, because obviously LeBron James, love him or hate him, he is LeBron James.
Listen, salsa going mainstream. Ozzie,
Yes.
What was the thing you saw this week?
Mine was another one, dancing. You can go and Google it yourself, but I love the energy in the Atlanta Braves clubhouse and dugout. Okay, Ronald Acuna is a clown. he is having fun. He likes having fun with himself. But obviously, I don't know where they got this, but there's a panda head, like a legit panda head, and I'm assuming it's for Kung Fu Panda, but it sits in the dugout, and Acuna puts it on before the game, and he dances with it. So they brought a prop in, and there it sits in the dugout, and he wears it, and he does a dance, and everybody comes around him, which I think it's really cool because I love pandas. I love Acuna's moves, and it's working for them.
I love a panda bear. Okay, so my favorite thing that I saw this week is a mom who's good at baseball, good at making a catch. This photo just absolutely says it all and just proves that moms do it all. This photo was from back in 2011, and she is just on fire. I love it. She brings her glove to the yard. She's got her kid who's wearing the head shaper helmet there. And she's just rocking it. Her name is Tiffany Goodwin. She is a huge fan of the minor league baseball, actually. And she and her husband are both serving in the military and are serving our country. So I just love that photo because you know what? Moms can just multitask and do it all at the same time. It's pretty awesome. All right, so let's talk about who won the week for you, Ozzie. Who is your this week's MVP?
Oh, easy. Albert Pujols, the machine. He went from potentially last place to the best team in baseball, and he has a chance at a ring. His family's going to be in the same city. Dodger Blue, they're welcoming him like, he's going back to St. Louis, gets an RBI. What's not to celebrate? Play first base. I love it. He's going to be playing against, coming off the bench, playing against Team in the American League. And you can see the way that Albert addressed the media the last day in Anaheim to his demeanor on the field, just playing. You can see youth again in him. And I think that's awesome. So we will see him in the World Series, I think. And good for him. I think that he's winning on a winning team.
Did he? It's funny. I saw photos of him were circulating online, and he almost looks like a different person in blue.
Yeah, when you go from playing potentially one of the worst reasons that everybody's blaming you, okay, that Albert should have written a sign of a boat and saying this ship is sinking. Get off of it while you can. If he could have, he literally could have done that. Child's hurt. Okay, they're falling off the table very quickly, and he was the guy that was blamed. It didn't work for them. They looked horrible on PR. It was just like one thing after another. And now he's on the Dodgers. He's surrounded by, energy of the fans. Like, they're the defending champs. And they were so welcoming to him. Like, they called him as soon as it happened. The Dodgers are preparing to be world champs. That's what championship teams do. They know Albert's not going to be the Albert from 10 years ago, but they know that this guy can have an impact on the clubhouse and on the run to October. If he's on the bench, you're going to be managing, thinking, I don't care what analytics you have. When you Google Albert Pujols on Baseball Reference, and it says Albert Pujols versus righties or lefties and whoever's pitching there, this guy has gotten a hit off of 10% of Major League Baseball in the history of the game. So anyone that's managing against him is going to be thinking, oh, my God, I got to make this move, but I might not because Albert's on the bench. It's a perfect move for him.
Yeah, I think he will. His veteran status will certainly, as a mentor, pay dividends in that clubhouse specifically because they have so many young guys. And let me tell you, nobody's happier than Dave Roberts. He's got to be stoked on that. All right, Jen, who won the weekend for you?
Well, as if you needed another reason to root for the Dodgers, there you go, Albert Pujols. But for me, Vladdy Jr., Vladdy quietly has been hitting bombs. At time of recording this episode, going live, I think Vladdy has 10 home runs, and he's just been doing really, really well. He lost all the weight, maybe not eating abuela's food anymore. I understand when me being home, trust me, I've been packing on the pounds, having my mom cooking. So it's hard. It's difficult, but Vladdy looks good on and off the field. Everything he's been doing, the Blue Jays have been playing really well as well. So my MVP for this week, and really for all of all of the MLB, Vladdy Jr.
There you go. Listen, Jen, you still look good.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And you can send some of your mom's food this way.
I will happily.
I can have some.
Yes.
Me and my kid, we'll grub. Okay, so for me, the people who won the week, that would have to be the weekend, rather. My MVP would have to be the San Diego Padres. They got a bunch of guys out. They got Tatis Jr. out. They got Hosmer, who's supposed to be coming back tonight, but also Will Myers and a myriad of other players because of COVID protocols and contact tracing. So over the weekend, the St. Louis Cardinals come into San Diego. They have the most wins in the National League, tied with the Giants. Nolan Arenado homers in every single one of those weekend games, and the Padres still swept them. Add in the walk-off win by a wild pitch last night against the Colorado Rockies. I'm going with the Padres on this one as my weekend MVP. All right, let's talk about the Pujols trade, or not trade, but rather him signing in Los Angeles, because we were talking about it just now and what this means. Let's go back to the fact that, and I want to touch on this because I feel like there's a lot of sort of shrouded in secrecy when it comes to they said, he said. You know, Albert Pujols had that press conference on Monday night, right before the game, actually, where he talked about the fact that, no, I didn't make an issue about playing every day with the Angels. They had to make a business decision. Ozzie, can you sort of translate what this means for laymen and people who don't understand how the inner workings of baseball works? What actually do you think went down there?
It's like when you get divorced and you want to know who's the person that messed up for the divorce. And the Angels wanted to be, you know, they wanted to get their story out there. Albert doesn't want to play. Albert needs to play every day. He's making it an issue for us to make the lineup, and he's being disruptive in the clubhouse. That affects Albert in two ways. Number one is integrity as a baseball player and as a person and who he is and what he represents himself in his career. Okay, number two, you're sending a message to 31 other teams that Albert is a disruption to a team that's trying to win. So as a franchise, you say, okay, I want Albert for his leadership and his bat, but I don't want him to play every day. Okay, so a team like the Dodgers, if Albert, you know, makes that comment, because a team like the Dodgers then says, I'm not going to bring Albert because he wants to play every day. I think that Albert let him know that, you know, I didn't have a playing issue every day. They had to make a decision. And I think that sometimes you don't want to have the big conversation with a big guy like Albert Pujols, and it ends up being worse than the actual conversation. And I think it was easier for the Dodgers to say, hey, man, we really, really want you, but this is your role on this team, okay? And when you have a conversation like that and you explain the whole picture, you can really convince a player to say, okay, you know what? I might take less at-bats. I don't think Anaheim did that. I don't think they broke it down to Albert. You know, we want you to help Walsh become a better player. We really want you to, you know, become part of this franchise later. You know, we still want you to play, but you're not going to be playing every day in the lineup. I don't think that happened. And it's unfortunate because they got Joe Madden, who's a veteran manager. They have people in the front office who I think do a very good job of running baseball. And where they failed, I think, is where the Dodgers did a good job. And I'm glad that Albert brought it up, because there was a lot of texting back and forth of, like, you know, in the world of baseball, do you really think Albert was complaining about playing time? You know, we don't really see him as that guy. Is Albert changing because he's getting older? Was he really annoyed there? But obviously the Dodgers, you know, it worked out for them, and time will tell. So I'm glad that it worked out for both sides.
Yeah, and speaking of working out and it just sort of being serendipitous, Jen, I know you've done a lot of work with Deidre, his wife, and their foundations, and all of when it comes to giving back to the community. The fact that he was able to transfer, if you will, just about 30 miles north has to be so kismet. The fact that he didn't have to pick up his family and move somewhere. I know a lot of people were crying out that why didn't the St. Louis Cardinals pick him up, because he could retire in a Cardinals jersey. But according to him, retirement is not on his list.
Well, it's not on his list, right? At least he's not going to talk about it until the end of the season, is what he said. And yeah, the fact that he was able to stay in LA is important. And I think that it's important for him and his family, because you're not uprooting them once again to a different city, especially this late in his career, and kids are older, going to school and all of those things. So those things matter. And the fact that he was able to stay in LA, continue his work probably with his foundation, which, by the way, he still continues to do in St. Louis. They still have a very good foundation out in that community and continue to give back in St. Louis, which I know that they would have continued to have done in LA, but this just makes it so much easier. And I agree with Ozzie as far as the Dodgers making it appealing to him and breaking it down and letting him know what his role would be. I don't see ever Albert being a disruption in a clubhouse. So even that narrative is just Angels type of mindset, I guess, and trying to get away from things and washing their hands clean of certain things. And we've seen that time and time again this season. But Albert with the Dodgers is a win-win for everyone. And like you said, Julie, at the beginning, he looks like a different player. He looks like a different person. Blue looks good on him.
I agree. And you know what? At the end of the day, the Dodgers just made the Angels look bad. They really did. And as if they needed any other fodder to be able to do that, it is not that hard at this point. I wonder if there will be a curse of the Pujols. Like, look what just happened to Mike Trout a couple of days. And Mike Trout came out and said that he actually shed some tears. He didn't even know what was going on in the clubhouse.
Yeah, why wouldn't he?
What struck me as like, wait a second. So they didn't even run this by their star player? Because
Trout would have said it's not Albert's fault that we're not playing good. It's again, it leaves some soreness in the situation, because now you're like, man, they did this to Albert. What can they do to me? Mm-hmm. And again, Albert's going to be in the playoffs. They're not. So in 10 years, like they said that Albert didn't get us to a playoff once. Well, obviously it wasn't Albert's fault, because he's going to be on another roster. So again, I think that for them, they're going to have to do a lot of rebuilding. I think that Mickey's still employed by them at this point. There's just a lot of weird things happening in that organization that they need to get fixed before they start thinking about playoff baseball. Jesse says, was Albert scapegoated?
Yeah. He's being blamed for the sinking ship, like Ozzie said. He's being blamed for literally him being let go of the team. I don't think it was his fault. It's just an organizational decision. And they wanted an excuse, which I think nobody was going to believe, because we all know Albert and we all know the character in Albert as a man, and him being a disruption or any type of that kind of nonsense. It was just not believable.
Well, I know who I'm rooting for this postseason. Hopefully they get there.
Yeah.
The Book of Ozzie. Ozzie, you have a story for us. Let's pull up a seat.
Well, it's a story that I wanted to bring up because of obviously the situation that Albert went through. The year was 1998, and Ozzie Guillen was in his first season with the Baltimore Orioles after having a long career with the Chicago White Sox. Ozzie became a role player with the Orioles, and this team was stacked, okay? Alomar, Palmeiro, Cal Ripken. This was supposed to be the team that went all the way to the World Series. Well, in 1998, they start off to one of the worst starts in Major League history. Okay, and Ozzie Guillen actually asked the Orioles, if you are going to release me, please do it in my house in Chicago. They were playing here. The Orioles decided to release Ozzie on the team plane, which we will share in the Being Guillén story in depth. But the point of the story is Ozzie was very sad, came home, thought that his career was over, contemplated hanging it up, and the phone rang the next day. And it was Andres Galarraga calling Ozzie, asking him if he was still interested in playing, because Walt Weiss had just gotten a little bit hurt, and they didn't know when he was going to come back. And Bobby Cox and Pat Corrales wanted Ozzie Guillen to join the Atlanta Braves. So Ozzie packed his bags, goes to Atlanta, and I think starts his career trajectory as a manager once he meets Bobby Cox, and he's really his education to become a future manager starts. The funny part of the story is that 2 weeks later, when the Orioles came into town into Atlanta, or vice versa, Ozzie Guillen got to see his old teammates who were behind like 15 games out of first place. And Ozzie was sitting pretty like 10 games above, saying that he was already counting his share money because he knew that the Braves were going to the playoffs. So I think that sometimes when you're a player, the worst thing that you think that could happen to you when they release you and when that moment comes to all players, sometimes it's just a breath of fresh air, the little boost that you need. It's someone else believing in you, and it's a whole change for you. And for the Pujols story, how ironic will it be that Albert, now has roots in the Dodgers and the future of his career? Fast forward to Ozzie Guillen being a manager in 2006 when he was manager of the year. The guy next to him was his former manager, Bobby Cox. And Bobby told a story on how he was super proud because he got to see Ozzie go full circle, get to the Braves, looking for a chance, and now he was manager of the year, and he thought he was part of that story. So Pujols, in 10 years, who knows what happened if he ends up being the Dodgers skipper and not the Angels skipper? That's my story on the Book of Ozzie this week.
Ozzie, that's a great life lesson for anyone. I think that we always have to see the blessings in disguise. I think it's similar to if you go through a breakup, right? It's a really bad breakup and you're upset that you're going through this breakup. But in reality, it's like if you believe in God and the universe, it's God removing the negativity from your life, and it takes some time to getting adjusted to it. But in the end, when you get over that hill, it's so much easier. Life gets so much better, and so many more blessings come to your life. I mean, I know that's happened to me, and Julie, I'm sure that you can relate on many levels. I know a lot of women can. I mean, what a way to relate baseball to relationships, but it is a life lesson for a lot of us.
It is. By the way, you're right. It should be compared to relationships. You know what? When a team lets you go, I really believe that you can compare it because you've put so much into of like yourself as a player because you're trying to win. And you're around those people more than you are with your family. So when you're released and you're unhappy, it's like whatever. But when you're like in a relationship and you're like happy and you think this is going like the whole way and you think this is where it's gonna end, it hurts. Someone's telling you you're not good enough. It's not you, it's me, but you know that it might still be you and that you don't know if anyone else is going to want you. I really think that I wish that I could have, been in Albert's mind of what he's thinking, that night in Anaheim. He came out of left field and, they don't want you. Is this how it's going to end? Like, is this how I end my career? So I know it happens to all the players, but it really reminded me of Ozzie because I really think that it's a breath of fresh air for a player sometimes when you think it's all over, actually someone's saying we still want you.
Does Ozzie still carry a chip on his shoulder about any former teams?
Oh, absolutely. He hates the Orioles. He hates the Orioles to this day. He hates the Orioles. And you know what, though? The reason that Ozzie is the way that he is with his players about releasing guys, delivering that message, he's very careful on how to do things. We were discussing, like, who'd fire someone on a team plane? That could have gone bad in so many ways. Like, guy snaps. But, again, like, protocol things that he said that he didn't know how he was preparing himself, okay? And then he thought he had played for great managers. And then he gets to Atlanta, and then he's like, I really want to manage because this is how it's really done. Complete different, style and way that, Bobby carried himself with the players. It was a whole different world for him. And it really showed him, like, okay, this is what winning is all about. And changed his career and basically formed Ozzie to who he became as a coach and manager.
Love that. I love your stories. All right, let's talk about social media real quick. Who's a must follow? Who are you guys following that everyone else needs to follow right now, Jen?
Latina to Latina podcast. It is a great podcast. I had the pleasure and honor of being a guest on one of their shows, and it's just elevating women, Latina women, in all sorts of industries. It's a great way to get to know women leaders, and it's run by Latinas, hosted by Latinas, and Latinas are the guests. And anytime that you get to elevate us, I think it's a plus. And that rhymed, not on purpose.
It rhymes over here. Ozzie, who's a must follow? Who are you watching right now?
MLW Wiffle. I think I did it right. The Wiffle Ball page on Instagram, okay? These kids created a Wiffle Ball baseball league that is followed by all the top players. And it's not your typical wiffle ball game that you have in the backyard with your kids. These guys are throwing gas, okay? They patented a home plate, and they do replicas of stadiums in different parts and cities in their neighborhoods. They have a replica of Wrigley Field. They have a replica of Fenway Park. And these guys are going at it. Like, they have standings, they have leagues, and now it's a league that it's expanding across the United States. And these kids are becoming, backyard baseball players at like 14, 15, superstars. And everyone loves it because every player, okay, or someone who loves the game of baseball, at some point, you played wiffle ball, pitilla, chapita. So everyone loves it because it's a stick of ball. And they're an awesome follow, man. They got stats, they got announcers. They have a whole league created for these kids. And I just wish them the best. And players love it. They follow it. They comment it. So a lot of action for Major League Baseball with them.
That's awesome. All right. For me, it is the Wine Scribes. This is a couple. This is Jesse and Cassie, who make wine, bottle wine, tend to vines across the world. They have worked on vineyards from South Africa to Italy to France to Chile, and they truly track the process of what it means to make and create and curate wine. I think that's from an event in Spain where they fill the water guns full of wine, which I would love to be there right now. But they travel the world, they taste different wines, and they truly give you a background on the different regions and what makes great wine. So it's a little wine education for you winos out there. All right. And now, Jen, we are going to give you the floor. What's on your mind?
What's on my mind is what is on a lot of people's mind, and it's everyone complaining about Yermín Mercedes swinging on a 3-0 pitch. I understand that he had a take sign and he didn't listen to his boss. I get that. And you know what? You should listen to your boss, and if you don't, you get reprimanded. But why is there a take sign in the first place? Why are you having him take 3-0? I don't get it. Swing away. Everybody's like, oh, we need more entertainment. We need, young people to watch the game. There's too many no hitters. And now you got a kid who can hit the ball and really is a lot of fun to watch, and you want him to not swing. How many games haven't we seen teams who are up by 10, 11 runs, and then you come to the bottom of the ninth and they're up only by 1 run? Really? Like, this is the issue that we're going to have. And then the other issue that I have regarding this particular situation, unwritten rules, Tony La Russa broke one of the major ones, which is throwing his player under the bus. I don't care if you have something against him and you want to reprimand him, you do it in private. You don't do it publicly and then say it's okay for the other team to hit him as well. Publicly, you're doing this. This is literally old man screaming at the sky. You have a problem with your player. You have a disciplinary issue with your player. You do it privately. Didn't he not learn about what happened with Jayce Tingler with the Padres? And I mean, all this does also, for anybody who's hating on Yermín for doing this, all this does is grow his ego, because this is what happens. You're giving him more attention. More people, we're talking about it right now. More people are talking about it. He gets hit. So it's like, yes, I am this important. I intimidate you this much that you need to waste a pitch and, walk me to first base because I hit a bomb off of you. Throw better, manage better your bullpen. If you can't put a pitcher out there and you need to put position players out there, all rules are thrown out the window. Oh, and also, by the way, Mickey Callaway still has a job.
And there you have it. Jen, some great points. I absolutely agree with you. How does this compare, Ozzie, to the Fernando Tatis Jr. Jayce Tingler? Don't swing.
You know what? It doesn't. I think this is way worse. Because Tony La Russa knows better than Jayce Tingler. He should know better. This guy he didn't want to be put in a situation where he didn't want to be the guy that was known. He didn't want to be the Ozzie Jr. of it. A manager's job, okay? This is the part that's so hard about a manager's job. Sometimes as a manager, you need to protect players, even though that they're 100% wrong. Okay? For example, Manny Machado the other day slid into second base, did something weird play, took out the infielder, okay? His manager might think that's the dirtiest play in the world. But I can't go out on TV and say Manny Machado's the dirtiest player I've ever seen, because he's your player. You can't do that. So you protect him and say, Manny maybe thought it was a different type of play, and you make something up. The part that I don't understand is this. Tony basically forgot a rule, okay, in his staff, okay? In a 16-5-14 game, when you're on the bench, you just want to get out of there. Okay, you don't even know what's happening half the time. You're at that point looking in the stands. You're like, whatever. The fact that he had a take sign, okay, at that point, like, you're really managing right now. So that to me is like, there was a position player at that point. I would have been like, this is over. Like, take my cleats off. Like, so the fact that they make such a big deal, like, there's unwritten rules. There's like levels of unwritten rules, but they make such a big deal about the 3-0 swing that it's like you get paid to hit bombs. Okay, that's a part. I don't like giving up at bats. Okay, I really don't. Because if at the end of the season, if you end with 29 home runs, they're not going to go back and say, oh, we're going to give you 1 for that at bat that you gave up in this situation. The other part is this. When Tony managed, last time, like in 1998, whatever he did, the position players never pitched. It was like a random thing. Now it's a strategy. Now they bring a position player in because they're saving a bullpen for the next night. We're trying to compete. I'm going to score as many runs.
How many times have we seen Williams Astudillo pitch this season?
That's what I'm thinking, but they're using it as a strategy. So I have a question. So what happens if I'm up 11-0 in the second inning and I take out my starter and I say, okay, you go pitch to my third baseman just because I don't want to use my pitching because I'm up 11 runs. And if the game gets close enough, then I'll bring in a real pitcher. Then people would be like, oh, no, you can't give up at-bats. So I don't agree with the at-bat part of Tony. The second part is if he did not take a take sign, if you are that out there and you're managing a game 16-5 and you gave him a take sign and he didn't accept it, you deal with him in the clubhouse behind closed doors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because what happened now is you made it public, you embarrassed the kid, okay? His teammates are backing him up, which is even worse. And now you make the spectacle. Now here comes the worst part. The other team throws at him. Okay, Tony, guess what? Everyone who's been around the world of baseball, we knew that they were going to throw at him. Okay? They should have thrown him right away. They didn't. Horrible setup. Rocco should have known better, brought the bullpen in. It looked so obvious. Wait for today to hit him. Okay? But mishandled. Okay, we know why they kicked Duffy out and Rocco. That's fine. Then he pretends that he's like, well, they didn't really start throwing at him. You know, you got to give him the benefit of the doubt. And if they were throwing at him, I know why they did it. That's the part that you're talking way too much, bud. Those are things you deal with behind closed doors. But now you've made it open. I'm okay. I can't be mad at the players tweeting, okay? Because it's like a player now. It's like a player saying something to the media. Now we don't need the media. Now I can tell you how I feel without a reporter coming to me. So you threw me under the bus publicly.
Right.
I'm going to throw you under the bus publicly. Now he created this world of awkwardness, okay?
Right. It's a tit for tat. Yeah.
Knows how bad it is, but I really do this unwritten rule world. There's a lot of unwritten rules out there that are there for a purpose, but this home run thing,
it's stupid. It's stupid. It's stupid. It's stupid. And
Diego would have gotten mad and said, "I got mad that he stood there at the plate and like stared at it." Mm-hmm. Again, you do the same thing on Diego. I might be like, "Okay, who knows?" But like, it's a 60-0 ball game. Like I would have been the other team, been like, "Okay, another one." Like who? Like that's what happens when you have a position player.
But Ozzie, just like you said, as far as like when the other team, him being okay with the other team hitting him, because obviously Tony was upset that he didn't take the take sign, right? So he's like, yeah, let me let the other guy reprimand him. No, when you have a kid, right? And Julie and Ozzie, you both have children. They could misbehave and they're like so bad at out in public or whatever, right? And somebody else tells them to be quiet or to behave. You're like, only me, only
but I. You know how many times that happens, though? You know how many times that happens in baseball, okay? Where a pitcher, and it goes both ways, a pitcher decides to hit somebody. Okay, Dave Roberts is like, I don't want to hit anybody on the Padres. And here comes a Dodgers player and says, well, I'm going to hit him. Mm-hmm. Okay, Dave Roberts can't go and say, oh, well, so-and-so hit somebody. I didn't tell him to hit him. He deals with it privately and says, hey, don't play that game here. I decide who we hit when we hit him. Okay, because he's the boss, but no one knows about it. Or vice versa. Tony basically opened it up for someone else to do that. And here's the part, though. If they hit him again, okay, you protect your teammate. There's something in baseball that people don't realize. One of the most important things, not everyone in Major League Baseball is friends, okay? They're not. Most guys a lot of players hate each other. But when you put on the uniform, you have to protect that player, okay, from any harm that can come to him. So Yermín Mercedes, he could make a mistake. You can talk, you can do that, but you can't. If you throw at my guy, okay, I'll tell you, if I was Lucas Giolito tonight, somebody's going down on that team. And I know Nelson Cruz is thinking it because he's an old school guy saying, oh, I'm going to get hit. Nelson, Sano, they're all like, I'm going to get hit because they play that right way of baseball. Because they know, like, we threw at Yermín, okay, we missed him, but we still threw at him. Now Giolito's going to hit one of ours. So that's what people don't get of, like, when you protect a teammate, okay, that's what it means. Like, pitchers are there to protect your guys from getting hit. So when you're exposing yourself, so even if Germinator did a walk-off, did all that, there's other ways that you could have been mad, say it on the media. The moment you throw it at him, you're opening, Rocco and his teammates were opening up everyone to a bean fest. I
know we got to wrap up. But is this also an issue because of who the player is? Because
by the way, if Jose Abreu, okay, or Tim Anderson was the guy that got hit, Tony La Russa would have lined up and hit the next 5 Twins ever, because he used to do that when he did it to Pujols, when they did it to Canseco and McGuire. He's been known for this, but since it's the Germinator, and the thing is, it's the dumbest. The reason that this is happening is literally because of the dumbest point of the whole season. Altudillo, La Tortuga got taken deep by Yermín Mercedes. That should be the story, and that's it.
There's a stat too that it was the slowest pitched ball.
42 miles per hour.
Hit the furthest, right? It was the furthest hit ball at that speed or something like that. There's like a really ridiculous stat about that specific speed. So just enjoy it, have fun, let the kids freaking play. My goodness.
I'll tell you this much: I'd rather take Astudillo deep than him striking me out, because I know that if he strikes me out, they're going to use it against me.
Yep.
You'll say, "Oh, I struck you out." Oh, you know how many times Rizzo's going to remind Freeman that he struck him out in the big league level? That's been forever. So again, Tony, I don't know if it's because he's older, just mishandled completely. And people talk about it's the difference in age. Nah, man, it's common sense. Like, your job as a manager is to protect your players in any era in baseball, and you can't throw somebody under the bus like that because of something that they did. You got to handle that in-house.
Absolutely. And let's not forget, if you are a rookie, you are a long way from arbitration. So you better swing for the fences and get as many home runs as you possibly can rack up. Get that money, boo. Okay. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Vida Baseball Live. Jen, Ozzie, always a pleasure. We'll see you next time.